Hello again, I'm Sam B. Hansen. Today I'm joined virtually by Laura Cioffi in a performance of the fourth movement of the Sonata in A for flute and piano by César Franck. Laura is a member of the fourth choir, which I talked about briefly in video number 5, and in the description of that video there is a link to one of their lockdown concerts, which was very good indeed. And she herself is a professional flautist and teacher of the flute. César Franck was a 19th century composer, pianist and organist, born in what is now Belgium, but took French citizenship, nationality, later on. This piece, the Sonata in A, was written in 1886 towards the end of Franck's life, originally for violin and piano, but various arrangements where the violin has been replaced by other instruments have been made, mainly by cello, or in this case by flute. Franck had big hands, and you see this in his writing, in his piano writing, by the size of the chords that he writes. I've got, with my hand, I've got the span of a tenth. There's middle C, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there's an octave, 9, 10. It's an octave and a third. That's as far as I can stretch. Franck apparently could stretch a twelfth. I've met, I think, 2 people in my life whose hands are big enough to stretch a twelfth, but it's certainly not something you'd expect to see every day. And most players, or at least players with hands my size, some of these chords, you can't play them necessarily exactly simultaneously, so you end up spreading them or playing 2 halves of the chord very quickly, one after the other, and you'll hear that probably several times throughout my playing of the piano part in this piece. One of the nicer features at the beginning of this piece is that its rather lovely tune is a canon and is presented as a canon. I talked about canons in video number 3 in the context of Bach's Goldberg variations, because he writes quite a lot of canons in that piece. But just to remind you, or to explain if you haven't come across them before, a canon is essentially a round. It's a piece, it's a tune, a melody that works on top of itself. So you have a statement of the tune, and then you have a second statement of the tune a bit later. That way around probably for you, isn't it? There we go. Second statement of the tune a bit later, so that they're on top of each other. And in this case, the piano starts with the tune, and the flute follows on. With the same tune, and on it goes for essentially the whole of the first section of the piece. It's a very clever tune that Franck has written. And then later there are times when the flute goes first and the piano follows, so it's quite a balanced situation. A word about accompaniment and how we recorded this video. In a normal live situation, the accompanist, the pianist, me in this case, follows what the instrumentalist or singer that they're playing with is doing and responds to various little changes of tempo or mood or whatnot as they go. It's a very communicative thing. Now, of course, virtually that hasn't been possible, because we've recorded in different places at different times and we're sticking it together now. For the Sally Gardens Jazz Trio video, which was number 5, for that we used a metronome, a click track in the background, and that sort of kept us together, and we pulled around a bit with the beat and the bars as we went along. But essentially that click was there pretty much throughout until the final cadence at the end. That doesn't really work with this piece and with many pieces of this style, because the tempo for both of us just stretches and pulls around a little too much. So first of all, we had a little chat as to where Laura likes to breathe in the flute part of this piece, because that's very important that I try and respond to that. And then I recorded the piano part first, whilst sort of semi-conducting with my head, to try and give as clear a cue to Laura as possible when I then sent that video to her, and she listened, she watched it, and she listened to the sound of the piano through headphones, which you'll see in a moment, and then played the flute part over the top So in this case, it's sort of been the other way around. She has had to respond to what I've already done. Usually it would be more or less the other way around. Apologies from me for the camera work on my part. I think I might have got the focus a bit wrong on my side of the screen, which you'll see in a minute. Apologies for that. I'm using a new camera and I'm getting used to it. I think it'll get better as we go along. But for now, here's the Franck. Enjoy. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much once again for watching this week, and many thanks of course to Laura for her wonderful contribution to this week's video. I'm very grateful to her. In the description of this video there are the addresses to various of her channels, online channels, website, Spotify, YouTube, all that kind of thing. Do go and have a look at what she's been doing, what she does. Next week, Friday the 28th of August 2020, I'll be playing various harpsichord works by François and Louis Couperin, who were nephew and uncle from 17th century France. The week after that, Friday the 4th of September, I've been challenged by a friend and colleague of mine to play a medley of cadenzas from Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerti, which should be good fun, that video. So do check in for that in a couple of weeks' time. But that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.